Do you ever feel like you're constantly busy, juggling 100 tasks, but at the end of the day, you have absolutely nothing of real value to show for it? We live in an age where distraction is the default, where your attention is being auctioned off to the highest bidder by the second. But what if I told you that the ability to focus, really, truly focus, is the only superpower left in the 21st century? In a world where everyone is shallow, the person who can go deep wins everything. Today, we're tearing down the illusion of busyness. Welcome to our deep dive into Cal Newport's masterpiece, Deep Work. It's time to stop surviving the noise and start mastering your mind. Welcome to the upgraded mind. I am going to decode this book so deeply and perfectly that you will never need to read it or watch another summary ever again. Chapter 1. Deep work is valuable. The superpower of the 21st century. Have you ever looked at the modern world and wondered who actually wins in this massive digital economy? We are living in an era of unprecedented distraction, a world where everyone is glued to their screens, swiping, clicking, and reacting to endless notifications. But behind all this noise, a massive economic shift is happening, and most people are completely blind to it. Cal Newport, a brilliant computer science professor, decoded this shift in his masterpiece, Deep Work. He revealed a brutal truth about the modern American economy. The world is changing rapidly, and in this new economy, only 3 specific groups of people will truly thrive and accumulate massive wealth. The first group is the high-skilled workers. These are the people who can effortlessly work with complex machines, advanced technology, and artificial intelligence. The second group is the superstars. These are the absolute best at what they do. In a globally connected world, a massive corporation in New York doesn't need to hire a mediocre local programmer. They can hire the absolute best programmer in the entire world, no matter where they live. If you are just average, the global market will slowly crush you. And the third group is the owners. These are the people with immense capital who invest in the massive new technologies reshaping our world. Now, you might not be a billionaire investor right now, but you can absolutely become a high-skilled worker or a superstar in your chosen field. To join this elite 1%, you must master 2 core abilities. Listen to this very carefully. The first ability is to rapidly master hard things. Technology and markets are changing every single day. If you cannot learn complex, difficult skills quickly, you will be left behind. The second ability is to produce at an elite level, in terms of both quality and speed. Simply knowing a skill is not enough anymore. You must produce undeniable results, faster and better than everyone else. So, how do you build these 2 massive abilities? The answer is exactly what this entire journey is about. The answer is deep work. Let's break down the deep neuroscience of learning hard things. When you try to learn a complex new skill, like coding, writing a book, or analyzing financial data, your brain relies on a specific substance called myelin. Myelin is a layer of fatty tissue that wraps directly around your neurons. It acts exactly like an insulator on an electrical wire, allowing signals to fire faster and stronger in your brain. The thicker the myelin, the faster and better you perform the skill. But here is the absolute catch. To build this thick layer of myelin, you have to focus intensely on that specific skill, without a single drop of distraction. If you are trying to study or work, while checking your social media every 5 minutes, your brain circuits are firing randomly. You are not isolating the specific neurons needed to master that skill. You are scattering your mental energy, and you never build that crucial myelin. This is exactly why deep work is the absolute key to mastering anything rapidly. To prove this, let's look at a real-life example from the book. Meet Jason Ben. He was a financial analyst, working a job that required almost no real deep focus. He spent his days doing mindless spreadsheet work, sending emails, and feeling completely unfulfilled. He realized that his shallow skills made him easily replaceable. So, he made a radical, life-altering decision. He decided to become a computer programmer, but he didn't just casually watch coding tutorials while checking his phone. He aggressively transformed his entire environment. He locked himself in a room with absolutely no internet connection. He forced himself to read highly complex textbooks on algorithms, and computer science. At first, it was pure torture. His brain begged for a distraction, but he pushed through the brutal mental pain. By immersing himself entirely in deep work, he rapidly built the myelin in his brain. He mastered a highly complex skill in record time, and within just a few months, he landed a massive job as a developer at a top tech firm. He completely rewrote his destiny by deploying the raw power of deep focus. Now, let's talk about the second core ability, producing at an elite level. Why do we constantly struggle to produce massive results? Why do we feel exhausted at the end of the day, yet have nothing to show for it? It happens because of a dangerous psychological trap discovered by business professor Sophie Leroy. It is called attention residue. Imagine you are working on a massive, highly important project. Suddenly, your phone vibrates. You think, let me just check this one message really quick. It will only take 2 seconds. You check the message, and then return to your massive project. You assume your full focus has returned to your work, but you are completely wrong. A heavy residue of your attention is still stuck on that message. Your brain is now split. You are staring at your project, but a part of your subconscious mind is still processing that text. This attention residue completely butchers your cognitive capacity. Every single time you switch tasks, you leave a piece of your brain behind. This is exactly why people who constantly multitask or work with their email inboxes open all day constantly feel drained. They are operating at a mere fraction of their true potential. Elite performers aggressively eliminate attention residue. Take Adam Grant, one of the youngest and most successful professors at the Wharton School of Business. Adam Grant produces top-tier academic papers and best-selling books at a speed that literally terrifies his peers. What is his secret? He doesn't possess a magic brain. He uses a brutal system of batching his work. He divides his entire year into deep work and shallow work. During the fall semester, he puts all his teaching, meetings, and student interactions into one massive batch. But during the spring and summer, he completely disappears from the world. He locks his door. He puts an out-of-office auto-reply on his email. And for weeks, he does absolutely nothing but research and write. He aggressively avoids all attention residue. By completely isolating himself from shallow, meaningless tasks, he operates at absolute peak cognitive capacity. He produces masterpieces of work, while everyone else is just busy replying to emails. This is the ultimate truth of our modern society. We have convinced ourselves that being connected and being responsive is the same thing as being productive. It is a massive lie. Deep work is not just a nice habit to have. It is the absolute currency of the new world. If you want to survive and achieve elite success, you must train your mind to dive deep, because depth is exactly where all the magic happens. Chapter 2. Deep work is rare. If deep work is truly the ultimate superpower of the 21st century, if it is the absolute gateway to elite success, then a massive, highly critical question naturally arises. Why is almost nobody actually doing it? Why are our corporate offices, our schools, and our homes completely filled with chronically distracted people? The answer to this question reveals a terrifying truth about human psychology and modern business. Deep work is becoming incredibly rare. And ironically, the very institutions that should be fiercely protecting our focus are actively destroying it. Let's look deeply at the modern American corporate workspace. Over the last few decades, a massive, heavily promoted trend took over the business world: the open plan office. CEOs and managers literally tore down walls and private cubicles. They sold us a beautiful lie. They believed that putting everyone in one giant, noisy room would spark brilliant collaboration and serendipitous teamwork. But what did it actually engineer? It created an absolute nightmare for human focus. It designed an environment where a brilliant developer or a deep-thinking writer cannot sit quietly for even 10 minutes, because someone is always tapping them on the shoulder, or a loud, distracting conversation is happening right next to their desk. Alongside this, we saw the aggressive rise of instant messaging apps and email culture. We engineered a toxic corporate culture where you are expected to reply to a message within seconds. If you do not reply immediately, people assume you are slacking off. And then there is the massive push for everyone to build a social media presence, even when it has absolutely zero connection to their actual job. So, why do massive billion-dollar corporations adopt these destructive habits? Why do they actively destroy the deep focus of their absolute most valuable employees? Cal Newport explains this exact phenomenon through a profound, highly revealing concept called the metric black hole. You see, in the old industrial age, when people worked in factories, it was incredibly easy to measure productivity. If you built 50 shoes in a day and the guy next to you built 20, you were clearly more productive. The metrics were crystal clear, but today, we are knowledge workers. How do you exactly measure the bottom-line financial impact of a brilliant idea? How do you calculate the precise monetary cost of a programmer getting interrupted by a useless email? You can't. It completely disappears into the metric black hole. Because corporations cannot easily measure the devastating cost of distraction. They never fix the problem. And because of this massive blind spot, human behavior defaults to a fundamental law of physics, the principle of least resistance. Our brains are naturally wired to seek the path of least effort to conserve energy. When we do not have crystal clear feedback on what actually generates value, we automatically choose the easiest behavior available at that exact moment. Think about it deeply. Sitting down to draft a complex business strategy or write a grueling piece of code is brutally hard. It causes intense mental friction. But checking your email inbox, replying with a quick, "sounds good," or "I will look into it," that is incredibly easy. It gives your brain a fake, instant hit of dopamine and a false sense of accomplishment. So, day after day, we choose the easy, comfortable path of shallow work. We aggressively avoid the heavy lifting of deep focus. But the trap goes even deeper. Because of this metric black hole, another deeply dangerous psychological trend was born: busyness as a proxy for productivity. Since knowledge workers do not have an assembly line to prove how much they produce today, they panic. They need a way to prove to their bosses that they are highly valuable. So what do? They just try to look as busy as humanly possible. They attend endless, completely useless meetings. They send emails at 10 o'clock at night. They keep their digital status active on messaging apps all day long. We have created a world where doing a lot of stuff in a highly visible manner is considered a badge of honor. But let's be brutally honest right here. Being busy and being productive are two entirely different universes. You can sprint on a treadmill all day long. You will be completely exhausted, but you won't actually move a single inch forward. That is exactly what shallow busyness does to your career. It drains your life force without moving you toward elite mastery. Finally, Cal Newport reveals that we are completely trapped by what cultural critic Neil Postman called a technopoly. Newport calls it the cult of the internet. We have blindly accepted a highly dangerous, deeply flawed belief. We believe that if a behavior or a tool is connected to the internet or high-tech, it must automatically be good, innovative, and necessary. If a new social media platform launches, we feel intense pressure to build a presence there. We think, if I am not on social media, I will miss out on networking. We never stop to ask the hard, brutal question: is this digital tool actually bringing massive, undeniable value to my core craft? Or is it just tearing my precious attention into tiny, useless pieces? We have elevated the internet to the status of a holy religion. We are absolutely terrified of missing out. But here is the ultimate life-changing truth for you. The fact that deep work is becoming so incredibly rare is actually the absolute greatest news of your entire life. It is your ultimate, unstoppable competitive advantage, because everyone else around you is hopelessly addicted to their glowing screens, because your competitors are drowning in shallow emails, fake busyness, and the cult of the internet. The barrier to entry for elite success has actually crashed to an all-time low. If you can just train your mind to step away from the chaotic noise, if you can engineer the discipline to sit in a quiet room and focus deeply for just a few hours a day, you will completely outpace the competition. You will produce work so remarkably rare, so incredibly valuable, and so profoundly brilliant that the modern American economy will have absolutely no choice but to reward you with massive success. Chapter 3. Deep work is meaningful. Have you ever noticed a massive, deeply confusing paradox in our modern American lives? We spend our entire week aggressively chasing the weekend. We dream about vacations, and we are told that the ultimate goal of human existence is to just relax on a couch and do absolutely nothing. Yet, when we finally get that free time, we often feel incredibly empty, anxious, and utterly restless. Why does this happen? Cal Newport answers this by proving that deep work is not just a tool to make more money. It is the absolute foundation of a deeply meaningful life. To understand this, we must look at the concept of meaning from three distinct angles: neurological, psychological, and philosophical. Let's start with the deep neuroscience. Science writer Winifred Gallagher made a profound discovery after she was diagnosed with a terrifying, life-threatening cancer. Instead of letting her brain drown in panic and despair, she made a brutal, conscious choice to strictly focus her attention only on things that were good, like evening walks, beautiful movies, and deep conversations. She discovered a monumental neurological truth. Your life is not defined by what happens to you. Your entire reality is constructed purely by what you choose to pay attention to. Our brains are literally wired to build our worldview based on where we point our focus. If you spend your workday swimming in shallow tasks, reacting to toxic office politics, stressing over passive-aggressive emails, and constantly checking social media, your brain neurologically builds a reality that is dark, stressful, and incredibly petty. Your mind naturally amplifies the noise, but the exact second you lock your focus onto one deep, meaningful, highly complex task, your brain stops processing all those petty, shallow anxieties. Because you are so deeply invested in a singular craft, your brain literally rewrites your perception of the world, making your life feel rich, secure, and profoundly significant. Now, let's move to the psychological argument. The legendary psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent his entire career hunting down the exact source of human happiness. He conducted a massive experiment using the experience sampling method, where he gave pagers to thousands of people and beeped them at random times throughout the day to ask exactly how they were feeling. The results completely shattered modern assumptions. He proved that human beings are actually rarely happy when they are just sitting around relaxing or watching TV. We are actually at our absolute happiest and most fulfilled when our minds and bodies are stretched to their absolute limits, fighting to solve a highly complex problem or create something beautiful. He called this mental state flow. The paradox of the modern worker is that people actually feel far more positive emotions at work than they do during their leisure time, because work forces them into action. Deep work is the ultimate guaranteed gateway to this state of flow. When you isolate yourself from the chaotic noise of your smartphone and dive deep into your craft, you completely lose track of time. Your ego vanishes. The grueling stress of the modern economy completely evaporates because you are operating at peak human capacity. And finally, we must look at the deepest angle of all, the philosophical argument. Modern motivational speakers constantly sell you a dangerous lie. They tell you that to be happy, you must quit your boring job and follow your passion. They make you believe that unless you have some glamorous, world-changing career, your life is completely meaningless. But philosophers Hubert Dreyfus and Sean Dorrance Kelly completely dismantle this in their book, All Things Shining. They explain that in ancient times, master craftsmen found absolute sacredness and divine meaning in their daily work. A blacksmith forging a sword or a carpenter shaping a wooden wheel didn't need a glamorous title. They extracted deep, spiritual meaning simply from the fierce, intense care and absolute focus they poured into shaping their raw materials. You can extract that exact same profound meaning today in the knowledge economy, whether you are writing complex lines of code for a tech startup, drafting a heavy financial report, or designing a simple presentation. The meaning does not come from what your job title is. The meaning comes entirely from how deep you are willing to go. When you approach your daily, ordinary grind with the fierce focus and relentless dedication of a master craftsman, you elevate an ordinary job into a sacred calling. Deep work transforms a boring, exhausting career into a magnificent masterpiece of human potential. It brings the sacred back into a modern world that feels completely shallow and numb. Now, At the end of this chapter, I want to hand you a massive, deeply practical challenge. Tomorrow, stop waiting for some magical passion to strike you. Pick one ordinary, difficult task that you normally dread doing. Strip away your phone, block every single digital notification, and attack that specific task with the absolute devotion of an elite craftsman. Pour your absolute best, most intense effort into it for just 1 uninterrupted hour. Do not accept mediocrity. You will experience a profound psychological shift. You will suddenly realize that true peace, deep satisfaction, and unstoppable happiness do not live inside a glowing screen or a weekend getaway. They live exclusively inside the beautiful, quiet, and incredibly powerful depths of your own focused mind. Chapter 4. Rule number 1. Work deeply. We all hold on to this massive, dangerous misconception about willpower. We think we can just wake up, surround ourselves with highly distracting smartphones and noisy open offices, and simply force our brains to focus on hard work through raw discipline. But modern neuroscience completely destroys this myth. Willpower is not an endless battery. It is a highly limited muscle that drains away with every single tiny decision you make throughout the day. If you rely purely on willpower to resist the endless temptations of the modern American economy, you will lose the war every single time. To truly master deep work, you cannot just sit around waiting for motivation to strike. You must engineer an ironclad, automated routine. Cal Newport reveals 4 distinct philosophies for scheduling deep work into your chaotic life. The first is the monastic philosophy. This is for the absolute extremists, like a monk isolating himself in a mountain cabin, completely cutting off all emails, social media, and shallow interactions to focus purely on a monumental craft. But let's be honest, that isn't practical for most of us. So we have the second approach, the bimodal philosophy. This means you divide your time aggressively. You might spend 4 days of the week completely isolated in deep work, and then return to the normal, shallow world for the remaining days to handle meetings and emails. To understand the raw power of this approach, look no further than the legendary psychiatrist Carl Jung. In 1922, to escape the chaotic noise of his busy life in Zurich, Jung built a simple stone tower in the quiet village of Bollingen, with no electricity, no telephone, and absolutely zero distractions. He would disappear into this sanctuary for weeks at a time. He locked his brain in pure, uninterrupted deep work to unlock the deepest mysteries of human psychology. And when his session was over, he would return to the busy city to handle his patients. Jung didn't just think about deep work. He engineered a physical fortress to aggressively protect his genius. The third is the rhythmic philosophy. This is the absolute best for the daily grind, where you carve out a specific non-negotiable block of time, like waking up at 5 a.m. every single morning to work deeply for 2 hours before the rest of the world even opens its eyes. You build a relentless rhythm, an unbreakable chain of daily execution. And the fourth is the journalistic philosophy, which is for highly advanced performers, meaning you train your brain to slide into a state of deep work instantly, the exact second you find a free hour in your chaotic schedule. Just like a journalist writing a breaking news story, you must hunt down and lock into the exact philosophy that fits your specific lifestyle. But simply choosing a time on your calendar is never enough. You must build a strict ritual around it. You need brutal rules, deciding exactly which quiet corner of your house you will sit in, exactly where your phone will be hidden, and exactly what your brain needs to survive that session. Like having a hot cup of coffee ready or organizing your research materials beforehand so you don't break your focus. But how do you actually execute this when the whirlwind of daily life tries to pull you away? Cal Newport borrows a massive corporate strategy called the 4 disciplines of execution. Discipline 1 is to focus on the wildly important. Do not try to do 100 things. Pick one massive, ambitious goal that will completely change your life and direct all your deep work toward that single target. Discipline 2 is to act on lead measures. Stop measuring your success by how many pages you wrote or how much money you made. Those are lag measures. By the time you see them, the performance is already in the past. Instead, track your lead measures, which is simply the exact number of hours you spent in a state of pure deep work today. Discipline 3 is to keep a compelling scoreboard. Build a massive physical calendar on your wall and draw a big red cross on the days you hit your deep work target. Make your progress so incredibly visual that your brain becomes obsessed with never breaking the chain. And discipline 4 is to create a cadence of accountability. Do a weekly review where you brutally audit your own performance, looking at where you succeeded and where you let distractions win. Now, let's talk about the most shocking, beautiful secret of the absolute highest performers in the world. They are not grinding 24 hours a day. In fact, cognitive science proves that the human brain can only sustain true, intense deep work for a maximum of about 4 hours a day. After that, your mental returns completely crash. This means true, disconnected rest is not a luxury for the weak. It is a biological necessity for the elite. Science shows that when you completely shut down your conscious thinking, your unconscious mind continues to untangle massive, complex problems in the background. Furthermore, your brain's directed attention needs absolute rest to replenish itself for the next day's battle. At the end of your workday, you must execute a strict shutdown ritual. You close your laptop, you write down any lingering tasks for tomorrow so they don't haunt your thoughts, and you explicitly say out loud, "Shutdown complete." You completely and aggressively disconnect because an anxious mind checking work emails at 9 p.m. cannot recharge. But remember, your brain is a biological engine. Deep work burns massive amounts of physical energy, specifically glucose. You cannot maintain elite focus if you are feeding your body garbage or operating on 3 hours of sleep. High performers treat their bodies like high-performance racing cars. They fuel themselves with clean nutrition, stay aggressively hydrated, and prioritize deep, non-negotiable sleep. If your physiology is weak, your deep work will be weak. True cognitive dominance requires physical alignment. Now, at the end of this chapter, I want to hand you a massive, deeply practical challenge. Tonight, look at your calendar and pick just one deep work philosophy that fits your life perfectly. Build an unbreakable ritual around it. Set up a physical scoreboard on your wall to track your deep work hours and the exact second your workday ends. Execute a brutal shutdown ritual. Protect your focus with everything you have and aggressively protect your rest, because that is the ultimate biological formula for unstoppable greatness. Chapter 5. Rule number 2. Embrace boredom. Have you ever noticed what happens the exact second you have to wait in a long line at the grocery store? Or when your friend is 2 minutes late meeting you at a restaurant? You instantly reach into your pocket and pull out your smartphone. You cannot handle even 30 seconds of absolute silence or empty space. We tell ourselves we are just passing the time, but modern neuroscience reveals a terrifying reality. By instantly reaching for a screen the exact second you feel a tiny hint of boredom, you are completely rewiring the fundamental structure of your brain. You are training your neurological pathways to crave constant, immediate stimulation. You are building a deep, inescapable addiction to distraction. And here is the brutal truth. If your brain is permanently wired to expect a dopamine hit on demand, you cannot simply sit down at your desk and force yourself to execute deep work. Your brain will literally scream for distraction, and your focus will completely shatter into a million pieces. To build the ultimate superpower of focus, you must actively train your brain to embrace boredom. Cal Newport introduces a massive psychological shift to solve this crisis. We usually think we should take breaks from distraction to focus. We turn off the internet for an hour to grind out some work. But Newport says this is completely backward. You must flip the equation entirely. You must schedule breaks from focus to give in to distraction. This means you decide ahead of time exactly when you are allowed to use the internet. And outside of those strict blocks, you aggressively refuse to go online. If your next scheduled internet block is at 2 p.m. and you get stuck on a frustrating, complex problem at 1:30, you do not open a new tab. You do not check your phone to escape the pain. You sit there and endure the frustration. You force your brain to tolerate the boredom and the immense mental friction. This simple, brutal practice completely rebuilds your attention muscle. But Newport doesn't stop there. He introduces a highly aggressive, incredibly effective technique called Roosevelt dashes, named after the legendary American president, Theodore Roosevelt. Before he was president, Roosevelt was a student at Harvard with a massive, chaotic schedule full of sports, clubs, and social events. He had barely any time to study, yet he scored elite grades across the board. How did he do it? He would look at a massive reading assignment, estimate exactly how long it would normally take, say 2 hours, and he would aggressively cut that time in half. He would give himself just 1 single hour to finish the entire thing. This created a massive, artificial deadline, forcing his brain into an absolute state of hyperfocus. There was zero room for distraction because the deadline was practically impossible. You can deploy this exact same tactic in your own life. Pick a highly important task, drastically slash the deadline, and attack it with the fierce intensity of a ticking time bomb. You will absolutely shock yourself with how much you can produce when your brain is given zero time to wander. Next, to further forge your focus into an unbreakable weapon, Newport introduces the concept of productive meditation. This is a brilliant strategy to weaponize your daily downtime. Take a period of the day when you are doing something purely physical but not mental, like taking a shower, commuting to work, or walking your dog. During this specific time, command your brain to focus exclusively on a single, highly complex professional problem. Do not let your thoughts drift to your grocery list or your personal anxieties. Lock your mind entirely onto that one massive problem. And just like a Buddhist monk meditating on his breath, the exact second your mind inevitably wanders off to a distraction, you must gently but firmly drag your attention right back to the problem. This isn't just about solving a work issue. This is hardcore neurological training. You are actively teaching your brain how to hold a single thought without dropping it. And finally, if you want to elevate your focus to an absolute elite world-class level, Newport suggests training your memory. He recommends learning how to memorize an entire deck of shuffled playing cards. Why? Because world-class memory champions don't have magically superior brains. They just possess an extraordinary, highly trained ability to focus. They use ancient mental frameworks like the memory palace, where they walk through a familiar house in their mind and attach vivid, bizarre images to every single room. When you practice memorizing things, you are not just building a cool party trick. You are building a massive, unbreakable capacity to concentrate. You are running a heavy weightlifting session directly for the prefrontal cortex of your brain. Now, at the end of this chapter, I want to hand you a massive, deeply practical challenge. Tomorrow, pick just one physical activity, like a 20-minute walk, and leave your phone completely behind at home. Choose one massive problem you need to solve in your life or your business, and force your brain to chew on that problem for the entire duration of the walk. When your mind tries to escape into daydreams or stress, brutally pull it back to the task. Teach your brain that it does not need a constant glowing screen to survive. Train your mind to be perfectly comfortable in the quiet, empty spaces of life. Embrace the boredom, because the exact moment you stop fearing silence, your focus transforms into an absolutely unstoppable weapon. Chapter 6, Rule number 3, Quit social media. Have you ever noticed the deep, underlying anxiety that hits you the exact second you think about deleting your social media accounts? You immediately panic. You tell yourself that if you log off, you will miss out on crucial networking opportunities, or you will completely lose touch with the world. We treat these digital platforms as if they are absolute necessities for our survival and success. But Cal Newport completely shatters this massive illusion. He reveals that we are evaluating our digital tools using a deeply flawed logic called the any-benefit approach. This mindset tricks you into believing that if a tool offers even the tiniest, most microscopic benefit, or if you might miss out on a random piece of information, you must use it. But this logic is a massive trap. Elite performers and top-tier creators completely reject the any-benefit approach. Instead, they operate using a ruthless strategy called the Craftsman approach to tool selection. Imagine a master carpenter building a legendary piece of furniture. He does not bring every single tool from the hardware store into his workshop just because it might be slightly useful. He only selects the specific tools that bring massive, undeniable value to his core craft. You must treat social media exactly the same way. Identify the absolute highest level goals in your professional and personal life, and then ruthlessly ask yourself, does spending 2 hours a day on Instagram or Twitter actually generate massive progress toward this specific goal? Or is it just quietly draining your cognitive energy? To further prove this, Newport introduces the law of the vital few, also known as the 80-20 rule. This economic law states that 80% of your absolute best results will always come from just 20% of your activities. If your ultimate goal is to become a top-tier programmer or a brilliant writer, the 20% activity that drives your success is deep, uninterrupted coding or writing. Scrolling through your social feed sits entirely in that useless 80% that delivers almost zero return on investment. Yet, we pour hours into it every single day. To violently break this digital addiction, Newport proposes a radical, highly revealing psychological experiment. Do not announce your departure to the world. Do not write a dramatic goodbye post. Just silently delete the apps from your phone and completely stop using them for 30 days. After those 30 grueling days, you must ask yourself two brutal questions. First, would my life have been significantly better over the past month if I had used these platforms? And second, did anyone actually notice or care that I was completely gone? For the vast majority of people, the brutal answer to both questions is a definitive no. You will quickly realize that the world keeps spinning just fine without your daily status updates. To make this shift even more practical, Newport shares a radical strategy popularized by minimalists: the packing party. Imagine packing everything you own into boxes as if you are moving. Over the next week, you only take out the things you actually need to survive. By the end of the month, you notice that 90% of your stuff is still sitting in boxes, completely useless. Newport challenges you to do a digital packing party. Delete all social media shortcuts, clear your browser history, and treat your digital tools as if they are packed away. Only reinstall an app if your life or business absolutely breaks without it. Stop managing clutter. Start auditing necessity. But there is a massive hidden danger here. When you wipe social media out of your life, your brain will suddenly face a massive void of empty time in the evenings. If you do not actively fill that void with something highly meaningful, your mind will panic and slide right back into those shallow digital addictions. You must stop using the internet as your default source of entertainment. Elite performers proactively plan their leisure time. They read brilliant books. They engage in deep conversations. They build physical skills. They completely refuse to let a Silicon Valley algorithm dictate their downtime. Now, at the end of this chapter, I want to hand you a massive, completely transformative challenge. Tonight, look at the glowing apps on your home screen, the ones that steal hours of your life without giving you any real value. Delete them. Do not say a word to anyone. Just vanish into the quiet depths of your own life for 30 straight days. Face the withdrawal, conquer the boredom, and fill your newly recovered hours with high-quality, deep leisure. Reclaim your hijacked attention, because true freedom in the modern world belongs exclusively to those who possess the power to log off. Chapter 7, Rule number 4, Drain the Shallows. Have you ever sat down at your desk with massive ambitions for the day, only to look at the clock at 5 p.m. and realize you spent 8 hours trapped in a chaotic whirlwind of emails, minor requests, and meaningless administrative tasks? You feel completely drained, yet you haven't produced a single drop of high-value work. This is the absolute tragedy of the modern workplace. We are drowning in the shallows. Cal Newport warns us that shallow work is incredibly deceptive. It feels like real work. It looks like real work, but it silently eats away at the precious time you need to execute true greatness. To build an elite career, you must aggressively drain these shallows from your life. And Newport delivers a brutal, highly practical playbook to execute this. The first step is an absolute game changer. You must schedule every single minute of your day. Most people just wake up, open their inbox, and let whoever is screaming the loudest dictate their schedule. This is a recipe for a completely reactive, average life. Elite performers do not fly blind. They use a strategy called time blocking. You take a piece of paper and divide your entire workday into strict blocks, assigning a highly specific task to every single minute. If a sudden emergency derails your plan at noon, you do not panic, and you do not abandon the schedule. You simply pause, redraw the blocks for the rest of the day, and get right back on track. The goal is not rigid perfection. The goal is absolute awareness of exactly where your time is bleeding away. Next, you must learn how to quantify the depth of every single activity you do. How do you actually know if a task is deep or shallow? Newport offers a brilliant, highly revealing test. Ask yourself, how many months would it take for a smart, recently graduated college student with absolutely no specialized training to learn how to do this exact task? If the answer is just a few weeks, like managing a social media page or organizing spreadsheets, then that task is utterly shallow. It does not require extreme cognitive skill, and doing it will never make you irreplaceable. Once you identify these shallow tasks, you must budget them ruthlessly. Newport advises you to literally ask your boss, what exact percentage of my time should be spent on shallow work? For most knowledge workers, the answer hovers around 30 to 50%. Once you have that budget, you fiercely guard the remaining time for pure, unadulterated deep work. If your boss demands more shallow work, they are forced to explicitly admit that they do not value your deep, creative output. But how do you prevent shallow work from spilling over into your evenings? You deploy one of the most powerful psychological weapons in existence: fixed schedule productivity. This means you set a brutal, non-negotiable deadline to end your workday, like 5:30 p.m. sharp. You do not work a single minute past that deadline. When you introduce strict scarcity to your time, your brain naturally shifts into survival mode. You suddenly stop wasting time on useless gossip or endless web surfing because you know the clock is ticking down. You become absolutely ruthless with your efficiency. Finally, Newport attacks the absolute greatest villain of the modern office: email. To drain the shallows, you must become incredibly hard to reach. Stop giving everyone direct access to your brain. Set up a sender filter on your contact page, explicitly stating exactly what kind of emails you will actually read, forcing the sender to do the heavy lifting before they even try to contact you. When you do reply to an email, stop playing a never-ending game of digital ping pong. Do not send a message saying, "When should we meet?" Instead, use a process-centric approach. You write, "Here are 3 specific times I am available. If one works for you, consider it confirmed and call me at this exact number. If not, let me know." You collapse a 10-message thread into one single, highly efficient email. And here is the absolute most liberating, unapologetic rule of them all. Develop the courage to simply not reply. If an email is completely vague, if it does not generate massive value for your core projects, and if absolutely nothing terrible will happen if you ignore it, just hit delete. Do not let someone else's lack of clarity become your mental burden. Now, at the end of this final chapter, I want to hand you a massive, deeply practical challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your keyboard or look at a single notification, grab a piece of paper and block out every single minute of your workday. Give every hour a specific job, and draw a hard, aggressive line at the exact time you will shut down. Reclaim your time from the shallow demands of the world. Aggressively protect your deep focus, and forge yourself into an absolutely unstoppable force in the modern economy. Conclusion: the deep life. Have you ever wondered what actually happens after you implement all these brutal, relentless rules? What does a life dedicated entirely to deep work actually look like? Many people fear that living this way will turn them into a cold, emotionless robot. They think that blocking their time, quitting social media, and draining the shallows will suck all the joy and spontaneity out of their existence. But Cal Newport's own life, and the lives of history's greatest performers, prove the exact opposite. When you aggressively strip away the meaningless noise and shallow tasks, you do not become a robot. You actually unlock the highest, most profound level of human freedom. Cal Newport himself writes academic papers at an elite level, publishes global best-selling books, and teaches as a full-time professor, and yet, he shuts down his workday at 5:30 p.m. sharp every single day. He rarely works on weekends. He is completely and totally present for his family and his personal life. How is this mathematically possible? Because the hours he does work are incredibly, fiercely deep. He has built an unshakable fortress around his attention. Look at the world around you right now. We are living in a society where massive tech empires are spending billions of dollars just to steal your focus. Your attention is the absolute most valuable currency on the planet. If you let the modern world dictate your schedule, you will spend your entire life building someone else's dream. You will be left exhausted at the end of every day, with absolutely nothing to show for it. But when you commit to the deep life, you rip the steering wheel back into your own hands. Yes, it is brutally hard. It requires you to confront your own boredom. It forces you to look at your raw, unfiltered potential without the comforting safety net of fake busyness. Most people will never choose this path. They will retreat to the warmth of their glowing screens and their shallow inboxes. But for the rare few who are willing to embrace the mental friction, who are willing to lock themselves in a quiet room and push their cognitive limits to the absolute edge, the rewards are completely limitless. You will not just survive in this modern American economy, you will completely dominate it. You will produce work that is undeniably rare and incredibly valuable. And more importantly, you will reach the end of your days knowing that you didn't just skim the surface of life, but that you actually dove into the depths and extracted something truly magnificent. Now, the final choice is entirely yours. The tools and the psychological frameworks are right in your hands. The shallow, noisy world is waiting right outside your door. What will you choose? Will you drown in the shallows, or will you build a deep life? The journey begins the exact second you put your phone down and start the work. Because at the end of the day, a deeply focused life isn't just about being more productive. It's about building a life that matters. In the words of Cal Newport himself, "I will live a deep life because it is the only kind of life there is. The noise is a trap. The depths are calling you. Turn off this screen and go deep."